SmartPalate is the best tool to help people with speech difficulties when learning a new language. It improves pronunciations and reduces accent, providing visual feedback integrated with artificial intelligence. SmartPalate is the best tool to help people with speech difficulties when learning a new language. It improves pronunciations and reduces accent, providing visual feedback integrated with artificial intelligence.
Welcome back once again to the SmartPalate Web Live. Today we're gonna see some options that we have as a therapist whenever we are trying to get information together um, to provide some information to the parents, or if it's a hospital or clinic, whatever you're working on. There's an option here in the SmartPalette web that you can get all this information together and provide this information to the parents or to the person that you're working with. This is a very good tool that we implemented on the SmartPalette web service. So let's go ahead and start. We're gonna log in first into the therapist user, and we'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we are here ready. We have this dashboard right here that we saw in some other live streams, and you were asking what is this about. Okay, I just created the patient number 3. As you can see, there's no information here, either in gold standard, oral coordination, practice score, diagnosis, or frequency. We don't have anything like any information shown because we just created this patient. Remember, to add a patient, you have to go to the user management, then go to patient, and here you will have the list of patients that are under your profile, under the therapist role. Here's where I add a patient. Remember, just click add and fill out all this information. You'll be able to create your patient. So go back to home. Right here, this dashboard, it will show us all the information about the scores, the seconds, the percentage, the time that they are being using the SmartPalette, and also practicing specific phonemes. Let's say something very important that I learned is that, for example, if I uh, did a custom phoneme for my patient, at the beginning I used a um, an example or something that we have already here in the system. I use the R sound as a blueprint for my custom phoneme. So here you won't see the custom phonemes that you created for your patient, but you will be able to select the one you use to create your custom phoneme. So I will explain myself a little bit better. So let's say I wanted to practice the R sound with my patient number 1, and this is the blueprint that I use to create a custom phoneme. So this is the one that I have to select. Um, the custom phonemes are not going to appear here, so that's the reason why I have to use the one that I use as a blueprint. So I click on apply, and you will be able to see. So here you will see that I practice like 4 different times, 0 seconds, like 10 seconds. The green line will show us every time that we practice 10 seconds, how that works. I will go back and forth in different options just for you to understand better what I'm talking about. If we go to the SmartPalette and go to the practice section, um, just to show you something, I will go here and I have different options: 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, and 10 seconds. So every time that I work with my patient under the 10 seconds full standard option to hold the sound for 10 seconds, this is what is going to appear here. So I'll go once again, patient number 1, select the R sound, go to apply, and I practice 4 different times the R sound during the 10 seconds period. So that means I score 0, in the first attempt, then 0 in the second attempt, 0 in the third attempt. But when I practiced the fourth time, I got 36% of accuracy. Okay, this is percentage. If you want to see it in time, you click here and switch to time, and this is the time that I've been working in this specific point, like 4 seconds accuracy in um, sound. So 2 seconds blue line, 5 seconds the black line, and 10 seconds the green. So um, I rather to use this because I like it more. So this is a combination of the 4 times that I um, use this R sound with this patient. We will select a different one just for you to see. So I applied, I did it just once and it was 5 seconds. As you can see here, it's 5 seconds here. And also I saw some 5 seconds in this one, in the R sound. You see, this time when I practiced the 5 seconds, I got a 56.47 of accuracy on my R sound, okay? The same with the other patient. If I want to go and see patient number 2, I do the same. So go to the art sound, apply. And as you can see, with this patient, I've been working in 5 seconds gold standard option. So the first time, 17.06%. This second time was 34.71%. And this third time, I did 17.65%. So this is for you to have an idea how you can use these statistics to provide a better results or better therapy. How you can explain this to the parents, to the doctors, to whatever person you're working with. This is a very useful um, tool. This dashboard is incredible, and as you can see, you have these graphics here to explain the successes or the areas of opportunity for your patient. And let's go and move on to the oral coordination. It's the same thing. The patient number 3 was just created. So if we click on apply, nothing will show. So let's go with the patient number 1, apply on it. So it was like 2 contacts and I did it in 3.53 seconds. So that means I did 2 contacts in 3 seconds. And we will see patient number 2, go to apply. With this patient, I work a little bit more in this specific option, the oral coordination. So I work 10 contacts 2 times. So in one practice, I did 10 contacts in 10 seconds. In the other practice, I did 10 contacts in 16 seconds. Okay, this is 10 contacts graphic. Then I go to the 5 contacts. The first attempt, I did 5 contacts in 4 seconds, 5 contacts in 3 seconds, 5 contacts in 17 seconds, and 5 contacts in 14 seconds. So remember, the higher is the amount of seconds, that means this patient has to work a little bit more in the tongue muscles because remember, oral coordination is touch with the tip of your tongue, random um, targets that you will see in the palate just to practice and see how fast I am moving my tongue at the time to touch this target. So let's go with patient number 1. We just practice coordination once and it was 2 contacts. And if I go to patient number 3, we don't have any data displayed. Okay, great. Let's move on and see this one here. This one is very interesting because probably we have like certain group of people or patients working with the same diagnosis. What does this option does is like do is put all these patients together and give us an example of how good or bad they are doing with this diagnosis. I will explain myself here. So I go to the R sound that I'm working with all my patients that their diagnosis is apraxia. So go here to apply, and I'm seeing like the practice scored, like the percentage of everyone together goes 10 10 repetitions. It's 9.045 of accuracy or improvement. And then if I go here, I started very good with 5 repetitions with this small group of apraxia, and then I lowered down the usage of this practice score. That means instead of improve, they start lowering the improvement that they had before. So I started here. So very good, 56.47, and then they went down to 23.14 um, percentage of accuracy in this fund. So I have to see what I have to do to improve that. So I'm doing some stuff that are not working fine for this group. So I have to work a little bit more and see what are the things that I have to change over time to use the smart palette for this specific group. So you have different diagnoses. Remember, here in the user management is when you can see the medical diagnosis that is different. This is the one that the doctor provides you, and the one in the assignments when you go to patient diagnosis is the one that you created. Okay, is the one that you create. Here we have just one diagnosis. That's the reason why we don't have any other. So we can apply that to the patient number 3. We have a fracture, but we can create a different one. So let's say we'll create a different one. We don't have anything like that. So we have to create it here. Here we are just going to assign this diagnosis to the patient. Okay. So let's go here, and this is how you see it as a therapist. Okay. Now, how I can see that as a patient. So let's go and log out. We will use the patient number 1 because they can also see this in their profile. But they will see it a little bit different because they won't have an option. As you can see here, they won't have an option to select different patient. It will be by default their own user. If I go to the art sound and then apply, I can see this. Okay, the same that the therapist is able to see. The same here, the oral coordination, and here we can see the months that this person is using the SmartPalate. So this is something that I will show you in the other profile as well. But let's say go to March, and we'll go to patient number 1. This is how many times this patient has been using the SmartPalate system. So this is day 1. So day 1, none. Day 2, day 3. So you will be like the 30 days or 31 days, depending on the month, how many times this patient is being using these markers. So in day 4, I'm sorry, day 6, you saw that this patient um, used the smart palette system 4 times. Okay, then the rest of the days he didn't use it, and then on the day 16, this patient used it 3 times. This is how you can see it. Let's go back to the therapist profile so you can see it there as well. You will be able to see all the patients' frequency as well. So let's go to March. Go to patient number 1 with the same graphics that we saw before. Let's go with patient number 2 and apply. And you see like these didn't use the system for all these days, but then on day 16 he used it like 9 times. Okay, so this is how you can um, keep a record of the times that this patient is using the SmartPalate system. So let's say you provide practice, like they have to practice at home, certain phonemes, you can see here if this patient is doing what you say. So it's very important to keep track on your patients, and this dashboard will help you out to get all this information, to get all these things that will tell you if this patient is moving forward with the treatment or is having an improvement on the things that you are doing. So this is pretty much what we're going to explain in this slide. Remember, whenever you have questions, comments, or something that you would like to see in this platform, please um, send us messages through social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can go there, um, put a comment there, and we'll be able to see what are your requests. Thank you very much for being with us. I appreciate your time, and see you next time.
SmartPalate is the best tool to help people with speech difficulties when learning a new language. It improves pronunciations and reduces accent, providing visual feedback integrated with artificial intelligence.